Welcome back, everyone, to the Boiling Point Podcast. This is episode 54, the Sons of Anarchy Organization. I am your host, JD, alongside Mizpah. We felt it important to have an entertainment episode and not just always be reporting on everything that's going wrong and bad in the world and everything that you should know about. Sometimes it's important to just sit back, relax, and enjoy a conversation sometimes. So that's why we did this. We're going to talk about the Sons of Anarchy Motorcycle Club. If you watched the Sons of Anarchy show, you will probably find it entertaining. And if you haven't watched the Sons of Anarchy show, you should stop this episode right now and start watching it.
I agree with
without
that.
hesitation. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200 until you've seen Sons of Anarchy.
And once you start watching it, next thing you know, you'll be four seasons later.
Yes,
and going
with only 3 more seasons to go. So you're going to finish it up.
Yeah, and then you'll finish it up in like 3 days, and you won't have slept at all. And if that happens to you, it's not my fault.
Yeah, it absolutely is a series that starts, I don't want to say slow, but it builds from beginning to the climax, and then after the climax, it just continues to just, the speed of the show just increases every season. It just gets,
steadily.
It seems to get faster and faster and faster every season. It's a great series. It was made by Kurt Sutter. He also writes The Shield, which is another favorite of mine. Sometime we'll do an episode on that as well. But this is going to be about the Sons of Anarchy, the organization itself, not necessarily the show or about too many characters. We may touch on a few things, but we're just going to talk about the Sons of Anarchy organization because I think it helps. Yeah, and the universe itself. I think it helps to. I think it helps to. If you understand more of it, then it helps to make it more entertaining. It gives you more of an appreciation for it. Kurt Sutter didn't just throw this all together, on a whim. So the Sons of Anarchy organization technically consists of 48 different charters, 36 national charters, and 12 international charters, including 4 in Europe. Australia and Sweden each have 1, 2 in Canada, 2 in England, and 2 in Ireland.
And it amazes me that he even went, that detailed with this when a lot of that stuff's not even covered in the show.
Yes, yes. Now, a lot of the information that I found is on the Sons of Anarchy wiki, which is, fans have control of it and stuff. But at least most of the information we're going to give you today is actually, comes from Kurt Sutter himself, or comes from some sort of writings or references that he made about this universe that he's built. Because again, you said the Mayans is also now a series that takes place in that same universe, in the Sons of Anarchy universe.
Yeah.
And there is rumors that Kurt Sutter's putting together. Of course, it's been rumored for years, but with coronavirus shutting everything down last year, maybe there's a chance that we'll finally get to see the first 9 miniseries that we were promised many years ago, but we haven't gotten yet.
He needs to get on that.
Yeah, and a miniseries is all you need, you know what I mean? Like 10 episodes, 8 episodes, 12 episodes, something like that, to give us the formation of the club, I think would be fantastic. I think it would just add to the...
So let's take a minute right now, and if anybody that's watching this happens to by chance know Kurt Sutter, crack the whip and tell him to get moving.
Yeah, link him in this and tell him if he needs any help, I volunteer my services. So... They have 48 total charters, which is a lot. Now we only get to see a handful of them. Maybe even 6 or 7. We do get to see a bunch whenever they have big meetings with the presidents and stuff. We get to see other chapters. We get to see some people wearing some other cuts in a couple of the meetings when they have. The presidents and vice presidents. Yeah. Clay has one of them, like a summit sort of. He gathers everybody on the West Coast, all the chapters on the West Coast. And there's Oregon in there, and Washington, and Nevada, of course, we know because of Tucson and Arizona. So they, they're mainly in the West, and then in the North, and in the Northeast in the United States. They don't have any, I don't believe, in the South. In the South or Southeast too much. There's none in Texas.
You said none in Texas?
No, there's none in Texas, and there's none like in Florida, Georgia. Most of them are really in California.
West.
Yeah, most of them are in California and the neighboring states, Nevada, Oregon, Arizona. There's a few in Illinois, Utah, New Mexico. There's actually, believe it or not, there is one in Alaska, and then there's 2 in New York City, 1 in New Jersey. There's 2 in Pennsylvania.
Huh.
And then, of course, that also counts the Nomads Charter, which at the end of the Sons of Anarchy was disbanded. They disbanded, and everybody went to separate charters.
Yeah.
But 48 does include the Nomads, and that's a big organization. Kurt Sutter made a huge. I mean, we're only following one, like the Mother Charter. You know, Sam Crow is the Mother Charter, but there's 48 other charters out there that we don't really get to see, or at least about 40 of them that we don't get to see.
And, you know, think of how long it took to come up with all of this.
Yeah. Actually, let's talk about how he came up with some of this and some of the professionals that he had help him on the show. Some of these 3 guys were both consultants on the show, and they played characters in the show, and they're also Hell's Angels members.
Oh.
Active Hells, I don't know if they're active or not active, but they're Hell's Angels members. These 4 guys that I'm going to read off, they were all in the show as a character, and they were also contributed as a like a technical consultant for the roles of the club. That's why they were. That's why they were brought in. David LaBrava, he plays Happy, Hell's Angel.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep. Chuck Zito, he played Frankie Diamonds. Towards the end, he was one of the Nomads that jumped in.
Okay.
He was a Hell's Angel, and for those HBO lovers out there like myself, he also played in Oz. He played Chucky the Enforcer Pancamo in Oz.
Never saw that.
Wow. You should get off this podcast right now.
Right.
Also, Rusty Coons, who played Quinn. He was the president of the Nomads, and then he came.
Oh yeah,
he's the big guy.
Yeah,
the big guy. He's a Hell's Angel, and Sonny Barger, Barger, I think is how you pronounce it, and he played Lenny the Pimp Janowitz. He was the guy in the guy who had the voice thing to talk in jail. He was talking to Kurt Sutter's character.
All right.
Yeah, he's also Hell's Angel. So those 4 guys was I don't know.
Either or.
Yeah, was I don't know if they're still actually active Hell's Angels members or not, but those 4 guys were at least at some point in time Hell's Angels members, and they were also like consultants on the show, in addition to playing some characters.
Well, I'm sure that having that kind of knowledge base to back that up is what really helped make the show so good.
Absolutely. The authenticity definitely is what helps make the show good. And those 4 guys, I have no doubt, can help, contribute to that.
I'm sure.
Kurt Sutter's a great writer. And
yeah,
he seems to, when he's making a show, he seems to listen to other people around him. He's not just a one-man show.
I feel like he was pretty underestimated until Sons.
I mean, he actually, where he got his start at, what he first wrote on, Married with Children.
Okay.
He started out as a staff writer on Married with Children, and then he also wrote for The Shield. Kurt Sutter also was a writer for The Shield. Season 1, he was a staff writer on The Shield. By season 4, 5, he is an executive producer.
Well, that just proves that he knows what he's doing.
Yeah. And then after that is when he came out with Sons of Anarchy. A couple years after The Shield ended was when he came out with Sons of Anarchy. Both shows on FX. And I encourage you to watch both shows, both The Shield and the Sons of Anarchy. Great shows.
So, as far as the Sons organization itself,
yeah,
we know that the first charter is the one that's in this town of Charming.
Yep, Sam Crow.
Yeah. And they're the ones that...
And they're called the Redwood Originals. And that's because Jax's father thought that Charming was too nice of a name for a motorcycle charter. So he called it Sam Crow, or he called it Redwood Originals. instead of just like charming, because most of the clubs are based off of what city they're in or what town they're in. None of them are named after like the county or the township that they're in. They're all named after the city that they are in, and except for the original charter, the Redwood Originals. It's named after Redwood County, which is where the first charter is located, but they're not named after Charming, which is the city that they're located.
And yeah, being that they're the mother charter, the president of that charter is also the over all of the other charters as well.
Yes, the president of Sam Crow is the president of all of the Sons of Anarchy Organization. Yes, whoever sits at the head of the Sam Crow table is the head of the entire organization. Yes, that's right.
So you'd have to imagine that it'd be pretty hard to keep track of everything that's going on internationally to ensure that all of your charters are following the guidelines that are set up.
Well, see, I mean, there's a charter. The first charter established like a chart. Now, when I say the first charter, the Redwood Originals actually had a physical, written charter of what their rules and regulations are. All of the other chapters follow that as an overall thing, but each president is allowed to operate their club however they want. Presidents have the discretion within their own clubs to do whatever they want,
even if it goes against the original charter.
Well, that's where you can get into. That's where you can get into a little tricky situation. If the other charters found out or wanted to push it, then they could probably, do something about that at like a summit or something. But really, the mother charter is really the only one that can come in and say this is happening. Only Sam Crow is the only one that can do that. Another charter cannot come into another charter and say you're doing this wrong. We're going to clean this up. Only the mother charter can come in and make changes. As you saw, Sam Crow did a number of times within their organization. It seemed like every time they visited another chapter, they were removing presidents and having whoever be voted in. They tried to do it in Arizona, in Tucson, Arizona, when they figured out that Sam Taz was selling crank. That's not necessarily against the bylaws,
but it's frowned upon.
Yes, because the mother charter doesn't deal drugs. They don't deal drugs. They deal guns.
Yeah.
But he was within his own charter. He can do what he wants with his own charter. That was the problem. Turned out that some of them were rats, so they ended up killing them and then, having to reinstall officers. They did the same thing in Ireland. Spoiler alert: if you have not watched this, I did warn you at the beginning of the episode to stop and go watch Sons of Anarchy. Because you should know there's going to be all kinds of spoiler alerts through this whole thing. But yeah, they did it again in Ireland. They killed 2 officers when they went to Ireland. I mean, they were traitors, but, it seems like every time Sam Crow went somewhere, they were
cleaning up a mess.
Just removing
Not
presidents
to mention
and
cleaning up messes within their own organization.
Yes, they certainly
That seemed to be all they were doing constantly and perpetually.
Yeah.
Because...
Well, it all starts from the very first episode, man. The first 10 minutes. It starts there, and goes all the way to the end. That's what makes it a great series. Is that to think that it all starts with a gun warehouse explosion. That's it.
Yeah.
That's how the series opens. That's the first 10 minutes right there.
I don't even know if it's full 10 minutes.
No.
But still.
Well, they do a whole opening sequence of Jax riding his motorcycle, and then he's in the convenience store. Sorry, I can recite the whole show to you. So, and then he's in the convenience store getting children's books for his kid. He gets a pack of smokes. He gets condoms, and then
turns
out the door, an explosion.
Boom.
Yeah, out the door, an explosion, and he sees it, and he knows what it is right away. And then, but that's how it picks up. It starts with their gun warehouse exploding, and then everything else spirals from that.
So, after watching this whole series, I can't help but think how much better the club would have been without Gemma.
Yeah, well...
Like, she had this perpetual habit of destroying anything she cared about.
Yeah, well... Yeah.
and continued to do so. And
Yes.
the harder she tried not to, the more she actually did so.
Yes, when in reality, if she would have just done...
Stayed the hell out of it.
She's an old lady.
Yeah.
Should have just been an old lady and not the queen,
that
which
she wanted
she
to
thought
be.
she was. Yeah, then it actually would have been fine. But yeah, every time she tried to affect something or change something, it just made it 10 times worse. Yeah, that's part of her character, though. You know, she's the mother of the club.
Oh no, and I get that, and you know, it made for some great storyline.
Yeah.
But
yeah, she was
looking
the
at
result of a lot of problems, certainly, yeah. As not some problems she was not the cause of directly. I'm thinking when the Aryans come into the show and what happens after
Yeah,
they
there
come
is
into the show. That is not her fault.
no,
Not by any stretch or any means of anything. That she's not at fault for what happens after the Aryans show
No.
up. But indirectly, because it did happen to her. So indirectly, she was still responsible for some of the stuff that went down with the Aryans. I mean, even though that she did not cause any
she
of
was
the
not
things.
the cause, but she was the catalyst.
Yeah, because she was the queen, though. That's also the point. I mean, she wants to be the queen, but that's what happens when you are the queen. That makes you a
Also
target. Yeah, it makes you a target.
Love is strong, it lasts so long, it just goes on for eternity. And now you've won through your son, the greatest gift, so did we.